the Lady Anne's Way, 100 miles from Skipton to Penrith. Yes, I've got neighbours. Leave no trace. And leave my friends. They are losing interest now. Now I've finished and packed away. Some ways I'll be sad to leave my newfound friends. Okay guys, I'm going now. See you next time. We're on our way to Napa Hall now. But as you can see, it's turning out to be another wonderful day. And the landscape has certainly changed from what it was. Napa Hall coming into view. Napa Hall was actually owned by the cousin of Lady Anne, and she would stop here, kind of overnight stop when she was travelling to Penrith Castle. So when she was going further north, of course it would have been quite a thing when Lady Anne arrived. She was kind of like the Queen of the Dales. And she could possibly have up to 300 people with her. Hence, I guess, why you need such a big barn. But, yeah, you can see that this is built as a peel tower to protect yourself from the marauding Scots. Although I was tired, I was only 3.5 miles away from this. Darn. Just in case you're interested. Last night we camped below that big hump there in the distance, and then we headed over that way to get to Napa Hall. And then the route obviously brings you onto the side of the hills. And now we're heading over towards Halls. We are approaching Halls in the distance, and at first glance this footpath looks like any normal footpath. However, as I have seen quite a number of times, it's actually paving stones laid through the field. I'm so impressed with that. Well, from a distance that was a close call, because it had the road all closed down and very severe warnings, which I can see why, but luckily the footpath is not disturbed. I can go that way. This is proving to be quite a climb, to say the least. Well, scenery is looking good. Oh wow. Okay, I need to check which way. There you go, a well-preserved lime kiln. And back in the day there would have been hundreds of these around. So burn the limestone to get the lime. Probably almost every farmer would have had one on his land. Obviously the lime used for agricultural purposes. Oh, this is one hell of a hill. Just thinking, if Lady Anne had been born about 300 years later, she could have taken the train rather than travelling on a horse litter on the wilds of the moors. Of course, well, she would have travelled mainly in the summertime, so yeah, would you want to have missed this? Evening, folks. Yes, it's 6 o'clock in the evening. Bit difficult to tell with how glorious the sunshine is. So I got to this particular point on the journey, 15 miles I've done today, and we came out of Hawes probably 5 miles or so, and we're on now what's called the Moors Highway, and obviously it was extensively used when Lady Anne was on her journeys. Also, it was a bit of a drover's road as well, and you can tell it's quite a wide, expansive area. The other thing is, I've been here since, I think, like I say, I stopped walking at 2 o'clock. Kind of hung around, didn't put my tent up straight away. But for a straight 3 hours, nobody turned up. And I haven't seen anyone at all in all that time. Just amazing. Yeah, so I am well camping. Yeah, you can probably just about see my tent over there. Not particularly well hidden, but like I say, I had the feeling it didn't really need to be. And when you're coming from the other direction, you can't see it at all. It's only when you look at it directly straight on. Anyhow, needs to kill time. Be interesting to see what the sunset's like. We'll get the camera out then at that point. Well, I went outside to try and take some pictures of the sunset, but the midges, well, they're intense. I was even wearing a midge net and it didn't seem to make any difference. So I've had to retreat back into my tent. So, afraid I can't give you too many shots, not like the previous nights. That's the problem, isn't it? And I think I did the coast to coast a few weeks back and I was moaning about the weather all the time because it was rainy and windy. Of course now I have great sunshine, but then you have all the midges. Can't win. Anyhow, tomorrow want to get to Kirkby, Stephen, and in fact it was a campsite I used when we did the coast to coast, it's an excellent campsite, can highly recommend it, and in fact I do in my coast to coast video. I think it's probably about 14 miles to get there. You know, we'll see how we get on, and tomorrow I'll see you in the morning. Bye for now, folks. Might take a few pictures through the net. We'll see how we get on as the night diminishes. As the night diminishes? As the day diminishes. Penrith Bridleway now joins us and has actually come up from Moorcock. So we're all travelling in this direction now to Hellgill Bridge. This is Hellgill Bridge, which was on that signpost previously. The significance of this bridge is the fact I'm currently stood in Yorkshire, but when I go through that gate I'll be in Cumbria. Welcome to Cumbria. That is Wild Boar Fell. In fact, it was on that fell that the last wild boar of England was killed. And in fact, the guy who did it, I think he's buried in Napa Church. Now we're coming up to a sculpture called the Water Cut. how the landscape has changed now. Deep in the valley, heading towards Pendragon Castle. Following Deep Gill stream, although Gill is a stream, so following Deep Gill. So this castle was restored 3 times, and the last time was actually Lady Anne Clifford. We know that Lady Anne actually spent one Christmas here. Apparently the first time anyone in the family had spent Christmas there in over 300 years when she did that. So this is a bit pants to say the least. Especially as I know on the other side of the river, so over that way, it's a perfectly good track. I'm not quite sure why they brought it this way. There's no historical context. It's a strange choice, and we had to walk on the road for a little while, main road as well. Yeah, this is definitely the worst part of the journey. And I know I'm not lost because I've seen Lady Anne's signs. Oh! Yeah, and that's the other thing, you can't actually see your feet, so I actually don't know what you're standing on. As you can see, the countryside has calmed down a bit. I'm not fighting the landscape as much now, thank goodness. According to the sign I've just seen, I'm 1/4 of a mile from Napa, which is the village just before Kirkby Stephen. And I'm desperate to get there. I really need a drink. I am literally down to my last drop. And then it's just a mile into Kirkby Stephen. Even though Napa is only 1/4 of a mile away, it's amazing how sometimes you just have to sit down and cool down, which is what I'm doing. But lovely day. I'm enjoying it again. Really am. Thank goodness I'm through all that horrid stuff from before. That was hard work. Anyhow, I've seen new footpaths, so something to always worth exploring new ground, isn't it? Right, no more talking. I'm going to rest. So I had a bite to eat at the Black Bull at Napa, and really good it was too. That's what I'm looking for, Kirkby Stephen and Pennine View.